Hello, I'm Angie. Let's talk about the books that I read in April. So, anyways, let's start with the one book that I DNF'd, and that was The City of Stardust. And that was for my little DNF challenge where I was going through books that I thought I might not like, and this one I was on the money. So, this one, I just didn't like the writing style. Like, I really thought that she was making things that should have been interesting boring, and I'm like, how this is the opposite of what your job is, literally like make shit interesting. What the hell? So yeah, I didn't get very far with that one because I just did not like the writing style, because I'm like, this should have been more interesting. And yeah, I don't know. So anyways, I wasn't vibing with it, so that was the one DNF of April. And then after that, 9 books that I actually finished, so I guess 10 total if you count the DNF. Alrighty, anyway, so looks like this is probably the first book that I actually finished in April. And it's The Forest Grimm. This was part of the DNF challenge, except it was a fail for me because the book was a win. The logic is logicking, I know. But The Forest Grimm, this one I ended up liking. It's really kind of a blend of multiple fairy tales instead of just being like a retelling of one. They blended them all together, put them in a spooky forest. And so the premise of this book is that this girl is trying to save her mom. She's trying to save her mom. And like there's a whole bunch of predictions around their lives because their grandma basically reads like her version of tarot or whatever. I guess she does read tarot. But anyways, so the grandma like foresaw bad stuff happening to their mom and then to her too. And so the story kind of goes from there, if she's like trying to undo her fate, but then at the same time also trying to save her mom. So it's like it's a whole thing. She ends up going with a few friends into the forest, and then everything basically changes for her. And I liked it. But my one complaint is that I feel like there didn't need to be a sequel, because there is a sequel. I just got the audiobook, and so I'm probably gonna listen to that pretty soon, but I didn't feel like this really needed a sequel. I feel like this could have been wrapped up in one book. But we, we got a little loophole in there in order to get to a second book. And I was like, okay, I'll give you it. I'll give you that. But anyways. So I'm gonna read the second one of this. But I gave this one 3.5. Not the best thing I've ever read, but I was entertained enough to want to know what's gonna happen next. So anyways, yes, so far I am keeping this book until I see how the sequel goes, because the sequel's bullshit. Then I'm gonna unhaul this, and that's that. But anyway, so that is The Forest Grimm. And then on to the next one. So the next book I finished was Finley Donovan Digs Her Own Grave. This is book number 5 in that series that I've been going through. So like, I like the first one. Was it the second or the third one was where they kind of lost the plot, and then I like the fourth one, it was good again. And now the fifth one, I feel like it kind of is feeling a little dragged out. So this one, I couldn't even. It just wasn't as entertaining as the other ones. Like, it does still have some funny jokes and stuff in there, like that I was like, ha ha ha, yes. But overall, yeah, the plot is just like, why are we still doing this? But this one had more to do with her neighbor, her nosy ass neighbor. That lady's a freaking character, Miss Haggerty. But yeah, this one just now I feel like she's gotten too used to dealing with this kind of crap. But yeah, I feel like the thing I remember more about this, other than the neighbor, is like her relationship with her cop boyfriend is going a little better now. And like there was a little bit more to talk about that, because like now her and Vera both basically have like serious relationships. It kind of takes away some of that chaotic feeling of the books that were more fun, I guess. But yeah. So this one I gave 3.5. It was not my favorite installment, but it was still fine. But so yeah, that was Finley Donovan Digs Her Own Grave. And then and then I read Red Rising. And then I read Red Rising. And this book I had a lot of thoughts about, and I put it in my vlog. But basically, yeah, but this man did not care to write women as like real characters really in this book. It's very upsetting and like just like, is it still an interesting plot because it's basically the Hunger Games but in space? Yes, but yeah, the way that women are treated in this book is just not great. Like the way that they're handled, like you could have had all this shit happening, but then still had like better developed female characters. Like it just, I don't know. Like I feel like there could have been more nuance and more like interesting things happening too if like the women in this book had been developed properly. So anyway, I think there was just like missed opportunities by doing that. So anyways, this one, it made me a little mad. I was a little salty. I kind of knew that going in though, so I was a little bit mentally prepared. And so I hear that I hear that he like took that feedback and did better going forward. So I'm gonna try Golden Sun going forward. But, you know, I am very skeptical at this point. I mean, people said it got better, so I'm gonna be really looking for that because, you know, it could be, it could be so much better than what this already was. Like, this is like a starting point. I mean, it's the first book too, but it just, it has so much room to be better if there were just like better written characters, basically. So anyway, this one I gave a 3-star because, you know, I mean, the actual plot is interesting. It's a revolution, but in Mars, like, that part's fun to read about. I mean, you know, it's not fun because revolution's never fun. There's a lot of blood and gore and horrible things. But, you know, it's interesting to read about. It just, you know, it just could have been done better. So anyways, yeah, I just gave that one 3 stars. On to the next one. I listened to the audiobook of Monstrilio, and that one was interesting. I binged through that one. It's a horror book. It's a horror book where this lady, her son, unfortunately, passes away, and her and her husband, like, this basically destroys their relationship, and it like destroys them mentally, and it really messes her up, especially like she cannot handle it. She can't like process the death of her son. And so she hears like a story about how somebody like grew a person out of a piece of them basically, except it made like a new person. So basically she's on a mission to like replace her son by she takes a piece of his lung out and then feeds it, and it grows into a creature that they named Monstrilio because he is like, he wants to eat people, man. He's like a vampire, but worse. Because he's like well, not even a cannibal because he's not like a regular person. He's a little monster. She grows a little monster. And, you know, as he gets older and as he grows, they try really hard to tame him and turn him into a person. And the whole family's in on it, but they have a real rough time with that man because he's a wild little beastie. So basically this lady made a monster and then got her whole family involved in this shit, and then that's the book. Like, that's, oh my god, but it was so sad. Like, some parts are just so sad. Like, it's just so sad because, you know, just the whole topic of like how they dealt with like the death of their son. It's not great, but the book was very interesting. Like all the stuff that they did to try to make him normal, and then he's like just all the stuff that they did to try to get him to conform, and it just sad stuff. So anyways, I gave that one 4 stars. Definitely I would recommend reading that one if you can handle those kinds of topics. But anyways, yeah, 4 stars. That one was interesting, and it had very sad themes. Let's see. After that, I finished reading Temple of Swoon because, you know, it was the perfect time to read something lighthearted after all that dark stuff. So this one is your romance book, but like set in as a like Indiana Jones themed book. So they're archaeologists looking for the City of the Moon, I think it was called. But so they're like in Brazil on an expedition, and all this stuff goes down, and yeah, and has all the adventure and all kinds of adventure and stuff going on. So this was a fun read. I'm definitely gonna keep reading these books as Joe Segura, I think, puts them out. Like this is the second one of hers that I've read. The other one was Raiders of the Lost Heart. That one was fun too. So this one, compared to the first one was a little bit more, how do I explain it? Like the main character was a little bit more of a badass. I mean, and they bring it up in this one too. Like our main character in this one, she compares herself to her a lot, but she's so cheesy dorky. Like the personalities of the female main characters in these are completely different. So yeah, so if you like the first one, you may not necessarily like this one just because of that, but it does still have the same like action. It has the same like kind of premise. You kind of have like the same villain coming through here, and there was a plot twist at the end that I was into. I was like, oh, I like, honestly, I probably should have seen it coming, but this was a lighthearted read, so I was like not trying to think that hard. And but this was so fun. Like honestly, these books are so fun to read, and yeah, I'm just gonna keep going with it. So I gave this one 4 stars. I think I gave the first one 4 stars too. Like they're fun. Like they're supposed to be fun books, and they are. So I feel like it does what it sets out to do. 4 stars. Anyways, so then after that, I read Twisted Wonderland, the number 2. This is the second volume. This one, it's just continuing on. There's still, like, I don't even know how to explain. Like, it follows the game exactly. It's like the exact same story, but I just still like it. It's fun. I think this one they're trying to not get expelled because they like to get in trouble, these boys. But so anyways, yeah, Twisted Wonderland's an isekai where they're at like an all boys magic school that's based around the Disney villain. So if you're into that kind of thing, there you go. The game is fun. I like it. It has like a rhythm game in it and stuff. So anyways, yeah, this is just basically reminds me of all of that, but I still like it. Even though it's the same story, so I'm just reading it again, basically. So, anyways, that one I gave 4 stars. And then on from that one, yes, Solo Leveling Volume 7. So, Volume 7, this one we have, I want to say the conclusion of their big ant battle. It's kind of hard to remember everything going through all the volumes, but I want to say they finished that fight, and then it's going to the aftermath of that because there was political implications with it. So yeah, this is like gross. It's gross because the ants are huge. The ants are huge, and I feel like some of the characters in this, I'm like, bro, there was one. Hold on, there was one. I binged this at night, but I was still just like, what the fuck is this art real quick? Hold up. Let me see if I can find it. Because I was just like, bro, what the hell is this guy? And why does he look like he took all the freaking steroids? Hold up. Of course, now I'm not going to find it, but I swear there is a picture of a man in here where his head looks like a pimple on his big ass body, and he just looks like he did steroids. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? This man don't look like normal. But anyway, so, yeah, things are just getting, like, progressively ridiculous in some ways, but then, also the Americans make an appearance in this. I'm just like, oh my god. Because why do they act exactly like stereotypical Americans? It's hilarious. I'm like, yeah, but I think it's hilarious because, like, obviously it's a fighting thing, so the Americans are, like, super buff in this. It's hilarious. I don't know. It's just freaking hilarious. But the way they all just pull out guns at the like slightest pin drop, like it's the most American shit ever. So yeah, there's like different stuff going on in here. politically speaking, like with multiple countries and alliances and stuff. So it's starting to get interesting in that kind of way as well. So anyways, I gave this one 4.5 stars. So yeah, the fighting's still good. Very action-packed. And then I listened to the audiobook of Thief of Silver and Souls, and I was just not into this. I was just not into it that much. Like, our main character finds a lady that's dying, and then her soul gets, like, sucked up into her, and then she's trying to, like, basically help her solve her murder, and just, like, I just really wasn't that into it. Like, there's, like, a bigger conspiracy in the background, and somehow I just wasn't that into it. Like, it should have been more interesting than it was, if you're asking me. Like, the premise was interesting, but the execution was a little lacking, I guess, because somehow I just did not care. Maybe it's because the girls, like, I don't know, it was rich people drama, but not in a way that I cared about. Basically, but yeah, I don't know. And there's like this whole thing of like they have the whole system where they like sacrifice parts of themselves to try to get gifts from the gods, and our main character is like making a big deal because she like didn't do that, and I don't know, but that was like such a minor part. After all that setup, I feel like that was such a minor part of anything that really happened. So I don't know. I feel like there was stuff in there that just didn't make sense and didn't pay off. So I just wasn't that into it. So I gave that one 3 stars. It honestly wasn't the worst thing I've ever read, but I also just don't feel like I need to continue, like, because I just didn't care enough. So anyways, and then the last book I finished was Foundryside, and I finished this like right before it became May 1st. Like, I was dead set on finishing this in April, so I finished this right before midnight. Right before midnight. And yeah, this ended up being like really kind of slow-ish. I mean, not that it was slow, because there was definitely action stuff happening, but like there's a lot of explaining and world building that happens toward the beginning, where they explain how the science of the world is being altered by magic sigils, basically, and how there's like a whole magic language, but then they don't know the OG magic language, basically. And so, but you have to kind of understand that in order to understand what's happening at the end, because basically the story, we have our thief girl Sancha. She's she does a job that kind of like turns into this whole thing where it can change the whole world, basically. It can change their whole system, their whole world, everything. So it becomes like a really big deal, and it's kind of sad, and like a lot of stuff happens at the end. It pops off at the end so much. Like the last 150 pages, I was locked in. So this I ended up liking. So and I think I've already, like, I can go pick up the sequel right after this because I put it on hold. So yeah, that's Foundryside, and I gave it 4 stars. So at first I was like, oh, maybe like 3 stars, because it wasn't like the worst thing ever, but like some of the explanations were happening during fight scenes, so I wasn't like super invested at that point. But like, shit, by the end I was invested. By the end I am invested, because like there's some good backstabbing going on, some good betrayals, some like secret evil genius shit. Like, okay. So anyways, yeah, I ended up liking it in the end, and yeah, 4 stars. It ended up creeping up toward the end there for me, and those are all the books I read. So yeah, 9 books. I think I set up my story graph in a different time zone, so it thinks I finished this in May. That's a lie. I finished it in April. Thank you very much, because I'm in a different time zone now. But yeah, there you have it. The 9 books that I read in May. It was a mixed bag for sure. But anyways, I will catch y'all in the next vlog probably. Bye.